All right, guys. So obviously, I keep it real. I've watched the Superman trailer so many times, but let's react to it right now. Like, no long thing, remotes in hand. Let's react to it now. By the way, my TV's up there, so I'm watching it on the TV. The camera's here. Now this had me thinking, like at the start, right? This had me thinking, what hurt him? What was big enough, bad enough to hurt Superman? Or is this depiction of Superman simply not as powerful as he should be? Now, James Gunn has made it very clear that he really is into comics and he's really into DC. And he's really into superheroes, and that's something that he says Marvel doesn't have that many of, right? So it must have been something that can hurt Superman that did hurt him. Hopefully it's not some weak character. Now, when he summons Krypto, I was happy. Wow, that's crazy when he says that girl. Now that shows that they're gonna activate and they're gonna show his super speed, which they have to, right? I'm gonna try and react to this more. So you see, when he punches that glass, it's like, was he contained? The guy throws the thing at his head. It's like, yo, why are they doing that? What's happened to where they think they can do that to the Man of Steel? What's that thing in the background when he's talking to Lois in the apartment? What's that? Is that a Sun Eater? Is that a hologram? Who is he fighting on a football field? You know, is it Ultraman? Apparently, who is it? Right? Nah, I'll be real though. So that's the end of the trailer. That's the end. The trailer's done. Okay. So I've tried to record this video more than once, by the way. I recorded it earlier all in slow-mo and it had no audio. Anyway, look. So for me, and I've spoke to my best friend about this, and he's excited like I'm excited. I spoke to one of my other close boys, and he's not excited because he wants the Snyderverse back. Now, I understand that because I really like the Snyderverse too. Me and my boys, we were invested in the Snyderverse because we like to liken DC to mythology. But that's not really what DC is at its core. It has mythological elements, but it isn't mythology. Now, this film, to me, and James Gunn has said this before, this film seems like it has a lot of similarities with All-Star Superman. And if you ask me, All-Star Superman is one of the better stories. If you was going to make a definitive story, because comics are this weird thing. They don't have definitive start and ends like a lot of things do. There's multiple different origins for Superman. It's been rewritten. There's been different variations. Some are canon, some are not. There's been multiple reboots of the DC universe every so often, so the characters kind of don't age out. And there's been, we'll talk about the Golden Age, then there's the Silver Age, then there's the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the first Crisis, then there's Infinite Crisis, then there's Rebirth, and so many things, right? So I forgot about Final Crisis. I'm sorry. So all these different versions of the characters over time have existed, and so many stories have been told that there's not really a definitive version. Same with Marvel, right? Marvel will keep trying to tell you that their characters are the same ones from 1962. They're not the same characters at all. They don't act the same. They don't speak the same. They don't fight the same. They're completely different. They don't have the same powers often, a lot of them. They're a little bit different. They've been altered over time. They've been depowered. They've been uppowered. Whatever it is. But Marvel's trying to keep that consistency. But then, you know, also has its little mini reboots that they'll say aren't really reboots. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Comics don't have that the same way that like anime and manga do, and the same way that like one author series do. So for example, Invincible has a start and an end. We know exactly what happens in that story. There's only that. Superman comics, there's so many different variations and there's so many branches that most people in their life haven't read all of the Superman comics that have ever been written. So what happens is you get people that like, they have a run of Superman that they really enjoy. So I really like the original Man of Steel 1986 reboot in the what you would classify as the modern age, because it's not the Bronze Age. It's, you know, it's like the 80s. So the 80s isn't to me the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is like the 70s, you know, the 70s, the late, you know, mid 70s to the early 80s, I'd say. And then I'd say the Silver Age is the late 50s to the start of the 70s, give or take, right? So when Superman gets rebooted in the comics, we end up with like this version of Superman. So the version of Superman that can no longer do crazy stuff like break the time barrier, right? No longer can do crazy stuff like grab 10 planets and put them on a chain and just fly and not feel the strain, right? Now we've got a more grounded Superman that is very powerful, but he isn't as powerful as he was in the Silver Age, because Silver and Bronze Age Superman was very strong. And Bronze Age Superman was weaker than Silver Age Superman, but still strong, still could break the time barrier and stuff. And there actually is a book where Superman fights Superboy from the Bronze Age. And Bronze Age Superboy flies so fast he breaks the time barrier, and modern Superman, so this our version of Superman, because I'm guessing this is probably a modern version of Superman, unless they choose to make him ridiculously powerful. Most of the film versions of Superman you see, the film, TV series, cartoons, there's some variation of the modern version of Superman. Most of them, you'll never see them break the time barrier. You'll never see them bust out any of those funky Silver Age powers, because they're not based on that version anymore. The Superman from like Super Friends back in the day, he was, you know, in the show, he does stuff like just moves planets, stuff like that. Which is something Superman can't just do now. It takes a lot of strain for him to just move a planet, right? And I've gone on this big tirade about it, but I just need people to understand, like, if there was a definitive version of Superman, this seems like it's going to do a very good job at capturing what that's supposed to be. And All-Star Superman pretty much is that definitive Superman story, with a lot of Silver Age elements in it. If you've read All-Star Superman, you'll probably say this isn't anything like the modern Superman stories. If you read modern stuff, they're not alike, because it's very much based on the Silver Age. What else is based on the Silver Age? If you're a DC person, Justice League Unlimited. Those series are 100% Silver Age based. All the characters are in their Silver Age designs. Even the characters that are versions of other characters are in their Silver Age designs. And I don't know why. I honestly think because for DC, the Silver Age was the definitive period of time where it really became cohesive, where they had, you know, the Justice League and all these kinds of things come together, right? And it literally coincided with the Marvel Age, because it was like 1960, then Marvel started to do stuff in 1962, and 1961 actually, and then they, with the Fantastic Four, and then they kind of came with a bunch of stuff, and they became these two competitors that kind of pushed each other. You would argue Marvel did better than DC because the characters were a little bit more human, in my opinion, and there was something different. They were a bit more monsterfied, monsters, gods, freaks, you know, stuff like that DC wasn't doing at the time. Now I'd argue, you know, DC outsold Marvel last year, comic-wise, and I'm happy about that because I think DC makes better stories. There are blunders. It's not perfect. You know, there's a lot of politics in DC stuff, but still, you know, I think they make better stories. The politics and all of it, but I think, you know, they still make better stories than Marvel. So let's get back to the trailer, because I've talked for damn near 10 minutes about other things. As I said, I do think, and I feel like, and I shed a tear over this, don't get it twisted. When I first watched this yesterday, I was at work. Then I went to see my cousin. And I put this on. Me and my cousin was chilling. I said, yo, my friend just sent me a link. It is definitely the new Superman trailer. So we put it on the TV and we watched it and we was both moved. And when on my way home, I left. I said, yeah, cause I gotta go now. You know, things to do. I left. And on the tram ride home, because we have trams where I live. On the tram ride home, I kept watching the trailer. I kept listening to that music. And tears came out my eyes. And I wasn't crying like making noises, but the tears kept coming because I felt some kind of innate joy. And I felt like this is really the natural, you know, continuation of the Christopher Reeve stuff. And it really, really made me feel like that. And Lord, I don't know what to tell you. It just captivated me. And I'm just left with so many questions of, you know, how are these characters going to be characterized? You know, are they going to do something about the color grading? Because I think they need more deep blacks. You know, I understand it's not a finished product. I understand that. You know, is Lex Luthor going to get power suit? And is he going to, because James Gunn said, you know, he's almost like a sorcerer with how good he is with science. You know, what's Metamorpho's role in this? Is he a villain at first? Is he that kaiju? Like, what are we, you know, there's so much question. I swear to you, I've got mad questions. Because the way Metamorpho was in a dark room in the trailer made me think like he is going to be used as a tool against Superman. You know, and that might be some of that scientific wizardry that Luthor has. But as I said, I don't know. That's what is so good about it. Remember, it's a teaser. Remember that. It's not a full trailer. I know it's, you know, 2 minutes or whatever. 2 minutes 18. Really about 2 minutes. Because there's a lot of writing in it. Maybe less than 2 minutes. The writing feels like it's on screen for quite long. So it's actually deceptively short. It's going to be great. That's how I feel right now. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yeah, James Gunn's ran away with this one. You know, that's my first reaction. He's ran away with this one. He's done this right. This is the right track, right? And if he carries on and he makes comic accurate stuff with characters in, because this is a gateway too. This is a bunch of DC characters in. It's got Hawk Girl. It's got Guy Gardner. Now, I don't like the way Guy Gardner looks, but I think it's a purposeful choice because we're not supposed to like Guy Gardner. Keep that in mind. We're not supposed to. There's not supposed to be a Guy Gardner fan club after this movie. Oh, that Green Lantern. He's not supposed to be the Green Lantern that you like. He's supposed to be the Green Lantern that you don't like. He's supposed to be a dick. He's supposed to be a jerk. He's supposed to be weird looking. You know, he's supposed to just have really strong will, but he's a dick, right? Didn't see that much of Hulk Girl. Saw Mr. Terrific. I've seen a lot of him in the behind the scenes stuff. I've been watching a lot of stuff on, you know, the set photos and stuff. He looks really cool in this trailer. He looks really cool with his technology. I wonder what level of genius he's going to be. Is he going to try and match Lex Luthor with his genius? Are we going to reference Batman in this film? Because obviously Superman, this isn't an origin story. It might have some origin stuff in, but this is not an origin story. Are we going to get Superman referencing Batman, saying stuff about Batman? You know, are we going to get that? Or is that hidden? Are we getting a post-credit scene? These are all the questions, man. But, yo, as I said, I was awe-inspired. I seen Kelex on the floor in the Fortress of Solitude. And I know everything that was going on in this trailer as well. I wasn't tricked by anything. When I see Metamorpho, I thought it possibly could be Brainiac, it could be Mobius, it could be... But I seen it first and I said, yeah, that's Metamorpho. My eyes just caught it. Without pausing it, any of that, I said, yeah, that's Metamorpho. I seen a giant kaiju, I thought that possibly could be Metamorpho transforming into a kaiju to fight Superman. Or it could just be a kaiju. You know, I seen Mr. Terrific. I seen... There's a guy punched through a wall. I didn't quite know who that was, but that could be Zod. That could be some Kryptonian. Apparently Ultraman's in this movie, and it's not the Earth 2 version. It's a version that exists on this Earth. So it could be him. Hawk Girl's in the film. She looks really cool. She's helped him fight in the kaiju and stuff like that. So, you know, the Justice League International's there and stuff. It's really cool. A lot's going on. So we're going to see, you know, in the coming months, a bit more detail. I think the actors will sit down and do interviews. I think Superman himself will sit down and do interviews. So we'll start to get a bit more interview. I mean, a bit more information. James Gunn, he be dropping gems here and there. My question is this, my final question. Which version of Superman's gonna be more powerful? This version, Henry Cavill's version, or the version from Superman and Lois? I ask that because the version, in my opinion, right now, the strongest version is the version from Superman and Lois. He is stronger than Snyder's version, and Snyder's version is strong. But I think the Superman and Lois version, I've seen him do too much. I've seen him fight a Doomsday that recovers instantly and can fly, and has, you know, basically Kryptonian powers mixed with the Doomsday powers, which is similar to the Snyder Doomsday, but that Doomsday couldn't fly. This Doomsday is flying, it's doing stuff at blatant super speed, which the Snyder one was, but you couldn't see it. And this one recovers damn near instantly on the spot, right? So, and they fought in space like Dragon Ball Z. It was crazy. So I'm really balling out like, okay, who is stronger between all of them? Hopefully it's this one, because why not? Why can't the latest one be the strongest? I would just, as a director, I would just make him strong. I would just put a newspaper clip in, or I just have a clip of Lex Luthor watching him like push a planet or something. Just push a planet, save a planet, or save a starship that's like planet sized or something. You'd have a crazy feat in there to where it's like, okay, Superman's nothing to play with. And that's it, you know. Oh, okay, one more thing. I have to say this because my channel is very much predicated on power scaling and debunking a lot of what I believe the power scalers are getting wrong. Even, you know, from Death Battle to a lot of these guys that, you know, scale characters' powers. The speed. Don't, for the most part, we all know Superman's incredibly fast, right? Don't be making him slow in the film, because Black Adam in his movie was not slow. He was definitely not Superman level in terms of his speed until he decided to fly to another country in a few seconds, but he definitely isn't Superman level. But he's still blatantly a fast character that struggles, you know, in terms of like, it's not easy to hit Black Adam. He's catching you off guard. He's quick drawing people with lightning. He's fast. He's doing the bullet time thing. So how fast are we making Superman? Is he actually going to be as fast as he's supposed to be? That's what I'm worried about. But from what I've seen, he's got this. So big up James Gunn, and that's all I got to say on this topic. I'll be back with more videos. I'll be posting more on this channel, comic stuff, power scaling stuff about One Piece, because I'm really into One Piece right now. And that's it. God bless and stay big. Peace.